finish as quick as possible. With my anticipation, this meeting should not go beyond 1 hour. Thank you very much, colleagues. We are going to start with our meeting. Let me take this opportunity to officially open this meeting and welcome everyone present. We hope that this is going to be a very constructive and robust meeting, which means we need to buckle our safety belt for the difficult meeting ahead. Item number 2 is on roll call. I'm taking it for granted that roll call is circulating and all members present would append their signatures on the roll call. Apologies, we have one apology from our side from Honorable Malevana due to health issues. And MEC from your side, if there is any apology.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to all the members of the committee, and morning, colleagues. From the department, we do not have any apology. So far, the CFO is on his way, but we don't have any apology. All the relevant people who need to be here are here. Thank you, Chairperson.
We'll take it that since the CFO is on his way, that is an apology for him to arrive late in this meeting.
Yes, Chairperson.
Will that be fair?
Yes, Chairperson.
So we have noted one apology from the department. I know we've been meeting, but it seems as if it's a culture and tradition of introductions, and I don't want to take it for granted that we all know each other. My name is Simon Mate. I'm a member of Limpopo Provincial Legislature and a member of this committee.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, MEC. My name is Christina Moholo, a member of this portfolio committee.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Ebi Marolo. I am the member of the portfolio of this portfolio committee.
Good morning, Chair, MEC. My name is Franco Marx and I'm a member of this portfolio.
The department.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and honorable members. acting HOD and the team from the department. My name is Fulufelo Florence Radziran, MEC for the Department of Social Development.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to members of the committee and colleagues. My name is Martin Sehlapelo, the acting HOD for the Department of Social Development.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the MEC, HOD and colleagues. My apology for late coming. I was held up in the office. My name is Matume Matlala, the CFO for the department.
Good morning, Chairperson, members of the committee, the MEC and the HOD colleagues. My name is Dudu Stlachile, and I am the Chief Director for Social Welfare Services.
Good morning, colleagues from the department led by our Honorable MEC and the HOD, the Chair and Honorable members. Good morning. My name is Maureen Delikisa, the Acting Chief Director, Development and Research. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Chair, Honorable Committee members, MEC, and colleagues from the department. My name is Charles Chweni from Planning in the department.
Ndima Cheroni, honorable members, I'm Godfrey Chimausune Kavambe from DSD, NGO Governance and Compliance Services. Ndoribu.
A very good morning, Honorable Chair and members of the committee. My name is Matale Motapo from Office of the HOD Social Development.
Good morning, members, Chairperson, MEC, and colleagues. My name is Petulo Ramalepe from Risk Management, DSD.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. My name is Mpokabai, Senior Legal Admin Officer for the department. Thank you. Senior Legal Admin Officer.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. I am Chiskawe Matodzi, Director, Financial Accounting.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and members. I'm Rahadi Maria Kekana, Chief Director, Corporate.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, MEC, Acting HOD. My name is Joshua Kwapa. I am the Media Liaison Officer for the department at the level of the Deputy Director.
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members, MEC, HOD colleagues. I am Shivani Francis, Deputy Director, Appointment Secretary, MEC Support Services.
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members, MEC. My name is Chauke Wongan. I'm the Parliamentary Officer for the MEC.
Okay, thank you very much. Support staff, legislature and political parties that are here.
Good morning, honorable members, honorable MEC, colleagues from the legislature and Department of Social Development. I'm Justine Mahacho, the committee coordinator for the portfolio of social development.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faith Mosutu, Committee Research.
Good morning. I'm Maureen Civil Communication Services.
Good morning, Papa James IT, top legislation.
Good morning,
I would take it for granted that everybody has introduced him or herself. Then we are proceed. The next item on the agenda is 3.1, no. Can we move for the confirmation of the agenda, Honorable Shahi? Honorable Naguda? Thank you very much. Item 3.1, briefing by the Department of Social Development on the following reports. 3.1.1, 2024-2025 fourth quarter report with 2025-2026 annual performance plan and budget. Over to you, MEC.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. With your permission, I will therefore request the acting HOD, Dr. Martin Stapelo, to take us through the two presentations on behalf of the collective in the department.
Thank you very much, MEC, and thank you, Chairperson. I would like to start on the same slide to just say that if we go to the next slide too, that our outline is that we will then focus firstly, talk to the fourth quarter report and with the analysis, and then we will then compare that report with the previous fourth quarter for the previous financial year, and then we would then deal with some of the issues that we didn't achieve for that quarter, and then we will then summarize our performance in terms of the budget thereof. If we go to the next slide, when we look at the fourth quarter, that slide talks to basically the summary of our performance. In terms of Program 1, the first column talks to all the targets for the year, and the third column talks to the fourth quarter targets, and the fourth column talks to where we are in terms of the progress of what we have then achieved by that time, and then the last column talks to the number that we didn't achieve. In terms of Program 1, we had 7 targets. We had met 5, which represents 71%, and did not achieve 2, which represents 29%. For Program 2, we had 8 targets. We have met 7. We didn't meet 1. For Program 3, which talks about children and families, we had 11 targets. We achieved 6. We didn't achieve 5. For Program 4, we had 8 targets. We achieved 6. We didn't achieve 2. And the last program, Program 5, Research and Development, we had 10. We achieved, I say again, we had 11. That's an error there. We had 11. We achieved 10, and we didn't achieve 1 of them. And then in totality, we have 44 targets. We achieved 34, and which represents 76%. And then we didn't achieve 11, which represents 24%. When we then, this next slide is basically the word version for the same information, which are...
Sorry, Chabi, can you just quickly switch off the lights there? Just light.
Slide 4 is the same information in Word format, and then, which I'm not going to then repeat. If we go to slide 7, I say again, slide 5, the next slide. Yes. In terms of that, when we compare the fourth quarter for the 2023-24 and the 2024-25, the figures there, in terms of Program 1, we have achieved 1%. In 2024-25, we achieved 71%, which represents an improvement for administration. For social welfare, the 2024, I'm reading it off from the third column, we had achieved 50%, and in 2024-25 we then achieved 88%, which is 7. I'm reading it in the almost last column, which is an improvement. For program 3, we have achieved 55% in the previous financial year and 55% in the current the year that we were reporting on. And in program 4, we had achieved 75% and 75%, which is the same for the 2 financial years. And in program 5, we had achieved 91% on both occasions, which is an improvement. And on average, it is the same improvement, 64% versus 76%. And then when we then look at slide 6, it is a comparison for the 2 quarters, but only focusing on the comparing the percentages of the budget and the percentages for the spending. So if you look at program 1 in the first column there, that has got the quarter performance indicators achieved for 23-24 is 25%. The spending is 101%, and the fourth quarter performance indicator is, I think there is an error in the heading for the first column there. It's supposed to be, there's no error, it's just my own reading, Chairperson. Then that's the comparison between the spending and the performance. And for the next 2 columns, the fourth quarter performance is 71% and the performance is 97%. For program 2, for the previous quarter 23-24, we had achieved 50% and spent 105, but for the 24-25, we had achieved 88% and spent 95%. And then for program 3, we have 55% achievement and spent 91%. And for the 24-25, it was 55% achievement and the 93% expenditure. In terms of restorative services, which is program 4, it's 75%, 93% in terms of comparing performance and expenditure. And then in terms of for 24-25, it is 75% and 111% in comparing the expenditure and the performance. And then the last program is 91% and 99% in terms of that. And for the financial year 24-25 is 91% and 92%. The bottom line is the annual comparisons. Now, if we then look at the indicators that we had not achieved, firstly, this is the first one in program 1, the closing percentage of audit finding that have been resolved. It is our target was to resolve all of them by the fourth quarter, but we had only resolved 70.4% by that time, which was about 19 of them out of the 27 matters. If you then the reason is that some of them required the department to have completed the investigations, and so that we can then undertake consequence management. There was no consequence management, and therefore we couldn't resolve those specific findings at that stage. There are other aspects there where we had long-standing audit findings like the one of Pasha Slatul and so on. So those ones are still also work in progress. In terms of performance, percentage of valid invoices paid within 30 days, there were 99.9%, 3,234, and instead of 3,239, About 5 of them were not paid on time because there was an way in which the invoice was captured on the system. There was a mistake, but when we went back and re-look at them, they were actually paid on time. But after the fact, we also discovered that there was one invoice that was actually correctly not paid on time, and we have taken the corrective actions against the relevant official who then had mismanaged that specific invoice. In relation to the next slide, this is page 8. Number of persons with disabilities accessing residential facilities. We had planned to have 294. We had 286, and this is because that there were not enough people who then required that service. We think that basically because that it is a demand-based service, there is not much that the department can do to deal with those aspects. But whenever there is a requirement for that service, we will continue to render that service. Number of children on page 9. Number of children with valid foster care orders. We had planned to have 34,913. We only achieved 32,220. And therefore, there was a challenge with us in terms of verifying the database with SASSA to make sure that children who are 21 years old are being discharged from foster care according to that. So in our realignment in terms of that, we're not able to achieve that. There are those who then need to get out of the service. It's also one of those which are service dependent. Number of children placed in foster care. We expected 810. We only achieved 446. The service is demand-based, and there were less children qualifying for foster care placement. Because what then happens is that when we then have to replace or to place the children back, okay, I was just talking about something else, Chairperson. Let me just pause there. Yes, it's the next one. A number of children in foster care reunited with their families. We had planned for 35, and then we only achieved 14. And because when we needed to place them, they were not necessarily ready, their families, for reunified. So we're just going to intensify our programs to ensure that the families are ready for reunification. On slide 10, the number of children accessing registered partial care facilities. We had a plan for 1,852. We only achieved 1,570. This is one of those that are service-based. And the number of children placed in child and youth care centers, we had planned 808. We get 792. And the same rationale applies on slide 11. Victim empowerment. We had planned that number of victims for GBVF and crime who access sheltering services. We had expected 25, but we got 157. Now 157 is a lot of people who get who become demand-based. So what we are saying is also that we can't just turn them back just because we had achieved 25. So we actually have to continue servicing them. So in those issues, there's no challenge that we then, for us to meet that. In terms of number of children in conflict with the law who accessed secure care centers, we expected 125, we got 133. This is for somebody to be in secure care, there has to be a court order. So when the court gives more orders than we had planned, we actually have to just keep those children in secure care. And then the number of research projects that were completed, we had planned to complete one research project. By the time we finished, we didn't have a research project completed. And the real challenge here, Chairperson, is that our research unit doesn't really have a lot of capacity. And although we have said in the report that there is no intervention, but what we are actually doing is trying to partner with the universities to see if we cannot partner there. But we are also, in terms of our recruitment plan, building more capacity for that unit. Those positions in that unit will be filled. In relation to our expenditure for the budget, as at the end of March 2025, I will just read the percentages there. In terms of Program 1, we had 97%. In terms of Program 2, we had spent 98%. From Program 2 up until Program 4. And in Program 5, we had spent 96%, with a total expenditure for the department being 98%. The same information, but now in terms of economic classification. In terms of current payments, we are at 99%. In terms of transfers and subsidies, we were at 90%, and in relation to payment of capital assets, we are at 83%, and in total, as a department, we were at 98%. That, Chairperson, is the performance for the fourth quarter. I would just wait for the presenter to just to do the APP if this
2025-26 APP and budget. You would recall that on the 29th of April, there was a meeting in this very same boardroom. And what you presented then with regards to this item, APP and budget, and what you are expected to present today or not present, is the same thing. Yes. So from where we're seated, it will be futile to represent, because it has been presented, right? We will just zoom in into inputs and comments and questions relating to that, because there is nothing new.
Yes, Chairperson, I just wanted to just highlight just one point. I did present it, but I just want to highlight it again in case it does miss point. In terms of the targets that we had, I had raised that in relation to the targets to older persons, there was an error in the actual document for the annual target, which was written 568 instead of 530. That was this is the only point I wanted to just highlight.
Okay. That was error number 2. It was error number 2, since you started this morning. Colleagues, let's first deal with the fourth quarter performance report. Honorable Munama, Honorable Shai, Honorable Maolo, Honorable Marx, Honorable Nenguda, Honorable Mohale. Are you fine? Mohale, you want to speak? Okay, Olivia, you want to speak? But you can't look so beautiful to be quiet. You can't be so elegant and choose to be quiet. Unless if, what did you say? Unless if the necklace jodi jwa mulumbe jwa. Let's do this. We'll start with Mahale, Munama, Nenguta, Shai, Maolo, and Max. We're going to start with you, Honorable Mahale. You need a mic because this is live.
Oh, right.
On Facebook, not necessarily on TV. Facebook. Light on TV.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. MEC, mine are just two questions. It will be on the foster care system that you have, to say what are the mechanisms that you've put in place to track and support children discharged from the foster care system. What are the mechanisms? But also the other one is there a transition support program when you see that the child is about to move out of the foster care system? What programs are put in place to support those kids? The other one is the last one. Do you have sessions with the parents who are supposed to take back the children? And how many sessions do you have with them? Because I can see here you say, some would be saying we are not ready, they are not ready to accept the child or whatever. How many sessions do you have with them, and do you think those sessions are enough to be able to reintegrate that child into the family? Thank you.
No, thanks. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members, Honorable MSC. Firstly, just to note and appreciate the presentation. Honorable MSC, I think we are on record to say that when we ask questions, people will tell us that they don't want to see their sides, their other sides of them. And we have been saying that that other side that we don't know about that person is nothing like a witchcraft. That's the only other side that we don't know about that person who says, why are you asking us this difficult question? We want to know our other side. And we're saying that the other side is witchcraft, that we don't want to know. I think firstly we appreciate, like I said, I think the HOD was naughty in his presentation and deliberately made a point to say that when I was appointed, I found this, hence the comparative analysis. Now there is an improvement, that's what you wanted. Which is not fair for us. Yeah, which is not fair. Because what remains, I'm trying to drive this, as much as we acknowledge your intervention. But I think what is obtainable is that we did not achieve all the targets across all the programs, which Honorable MEC is a cause of concern. The Honorable MEC is part of the legislature. In fact, we'll be saying without any fear of contradiction to say that you're successfully failing the authority there, the executive authority by not. These are I'm just raising this, Honorable MEC, because these are the targets that these people set themselves, that they are going to achieve for this quarter. It's not like it's us as the portfolio committee to say that you must achieve this. But we don't have a clear-cut reasons why these targets were not achieved. What informed the deviation? It is not clearly or explicitly articulated in your presentation, which I think is a cause of concern. Like when you just said corrective action is being taken. We are more concerned about what type of a corrective action was taken, so that we are able to gauge the magnitude of the deviation or the offense vis-a-vis the type of the action being taken. Maybe just, Honorable MEC, to take advantage of what we have seen. We had the privilege as the Portfolio Committee to undertake a oversight visit, which I think is a cause for concern. I don't know whether is a privilege that the HOD or ka health was saying we were anesthetized, yeah, because of the things, the horrors that we were exposed to. As the Portfolio Committee, firstly, you have this program of sustainable community development interventions that you are doing as the department, and you have a number of NPOs that I think are using, the bulk of your services are done through your partnership with your NPOs. But the concern is that as much as you are presenting the budget here, everywhere we went, we were taught by this thing called TPA, transfer payment agreements that were not signed. But you keep on transferring the money. What informs you to transfer the money if you did not sign the contract with the very same NPOs? And I think you will understand the problems that we have with the NPOs, the investigations that you initially had, that you transferred the money today, tomorrow that money is vanished. We have your report. In the drop-in centers, that's where the issue of the other issue that has been raised was around the termination of other programs. You just said from tomorrow you are no longer implementing this program, whereas there are people who are working there. And they have to volunteer, which to us is very unfair. The other issue is that it seems like, unless you will explain to us, there are no standard operating procedures, and I'll state why. Because you find in one drop-in center, you give them 10 rand per day, the other you give them 9 rand. That's the report that we get, and you'll have to explain. The reason why I'm so concerned, I'm saying that I'm not necessarily privileged, is that the quarter passed without transferring the money. I think people from the legal will understand my point. Is that this NPOs has to pay what you call unemployment insurance fund, the 1% of that money, and the 1% of employees. So if you don't transfer the money for that quarter, it means that the Department of Labor has the responsibility to go to those NPOs and to say that they are not complying, which is a point that I think you have to deal with, because you said that on a quarterly basis you will transfer the money, but the money is not transferred as per the TPA that you yourself. But the other worrying thing, as much as you are approving, because it's a contracting period now, is that in December, because you don't know where to take the money, you just dump it there. The physical dumping, which is very prevalent in this, because we cannot remain deaf to the cries and agonies of these people who are assisting us, the number of the job opportunities that they are creating, but they don't get the necessary assistance. Perhaps also you have to assist us as a department. The drop-in centers, they have to be registered in terms of the Child Act 38 of 2002. And also the NPO Act 71 of 1997. If you look into them, they are a bit outdated. I don't know whether there is an attempt on your part to review some of this, to initiate the process together with National. I know that some of this responsibility, but I think the mere fact that a person gets 10 rand per day, guided by this, is a cause for concern that I think has to be in one way or the other. But also we were perturbed, Honorable MEC, by the attitude of your social workers, more especially in the districts. Our officials will share with you the names, that the person doesn't assist them and is insulting those poor people. They even showed us the videos, they even make the name. Robert then some twans, Sargi Christmas, just to quote them verbatim. But what we are trying to say is that if you look into your own investigations, the number of NPOs that are being investigated, they are in Waterberg. It means that there is a serious problem about that district. Your district office, not the district per municipality, but that district itself for the social development, the attitude, but also the bureaucratic red tapes that are there, that people submit the reports. That's what we got. But when they get the report, they get replaced, and it disadvantages them or prejudice them in terms of processing of the payments and other stuff, which is a cause for concern as a committee that I think you have to attend to. But I think we need more intervention in that district. Otherwise, I think our people are going to suffer as a result. And there are a lot of initiatives that these people are doing, but they do not get the necessary support. Like they will report to the social worker to say we have this GBV case. The social workers, that's what we have been told. They don't even go to those houses, despite the fact that they've been told. And we'll share the name of the drop center, Batusheng drop center. They have about cases. But also what is worrying is the issue that these people go all out because of inadequate funding from the department. They go to the mines. You know that the mines have this thing of CSIs. Yeah, but when they get they apply, they get the response that they will get the money, but the social worker will say that the money will not come to you. Let's share. It was more of a serious allegation that I think need to be investigated by your good selves. And we cannot leave it like that, that you got 100,000 from the mine. And then from there, the social worker says, no, we'll only give you 15,000 out of that money. We need to share it. To us, it in an element that corruption, if we wanted to state it up front. But I think generally I'm more impressed about the expenditure. The 97%, I think it says, it's just there is a mismatch of your performance vis-a-vis your expenditure, which I think you have to explain why you are spending so much, but in terms of your targets, or they don't have financial implications. But also we are worried about the vacancy rate at the executive management level. It's more of a Hollywood that many people are acting. Out of the budget that you are approving, how many positions are you going to fill? More especially the chief director's positions that are there. And the HOD, I think you have been acting. If Mubango now they are saying it has been acted for a law and it has to close shops. And at some stage you have to close shops and go back where you belong. I think in a nutshell, those are my input. But I think MEC, I think we need to appreciate, we need not just to be negative and confrontational unnecessarily. I think this is one of the departments that I think is doing quite well. And all the accolades and kudos, they go to the MEC. If there are problems, they will go to the HOD. But for now, I think the accolades goes to the MEC. not the HOD, because the HOD is acting. Yeah. No, thanks.
The chairperson is forcing us to speak, accusing my pals. No, Chair, there's that I think if I leave it, it might not be attended to. The issues of maintenance, acting HOD. We want to check personally with regards to infrastructure projects. We understand that Public Works might be doing those projects for you, but in terms of maintenance, Chair, who's doing that acting HOD? Do you do that in-house? Yes, if maybe the Public Works is the one that does that, because the infrastructure of the department, especially where it houses our people, vulnerable kids and all those people, Chair, that forms directly part of your primary objective and mandate. It's a mess. So for me, I want to check with regards to maintenance. Do you do it in-house or sector departments that for you? And once I get that question, Chair, I will drive the point home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning once more, colleagues. Let me start by appreciating the report as presented by the acting HOD. And allow me, acting HOD, through you, Chair, just to take you back to the first page of your report. I don't know as to whether it's my failure to interpret the statement quite well. But if you can check the first page under program 2, which reads social welfare services. In this program, 8 indicators were targeted, of which 4 indicators were achieved. I'm failing to interpret that statement, which reads, of which 4 indicators were achieved. I don't know as to whether it's a typo or my failure to interpret the sentence quite well. Are you able to see the sentence that I'm referring to? Okay. All right. Yeah. Secondly, I just want to re-emphasize the question as posed by my colleague here, Honorable Mohali, regarding the children who aged out from the foster care system. That is those that are over 21 years of age. She indicated that she wanted to know as to whether there are some tracks. Are you able to track their whereabouts after having reached 21 years of age, so that we are able to check as to whether they are schooling, whether they remain victims of substance abuse, whether they are found in rehabilitation centers, or whether they remain, heading, the child-headed families. Because what we anticipate is that after 21 years of age, we want to see them, doing something constructively. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings once more to our colleagues. One of the questions that was raised by Honorable Nangoda, I wanted to ask what happens to, because presentation at the acting HOD, he emphasized children with valid foster care orders, which dropped from 34,913 to 32,200 because of verification database that was done in conjunction with the Department of with SASSA. So the question was that what happens to children who age out
of the foster care system, those over the age of 21. Is there a transition support program? That was my first question. The second one, Chair, kia issue ya the centers in Waterberg, particularly Modimulo Mokopong, where we've received so many reports as the committee. Chagore, the centers in Modimulo Mokopong, one are some many issues. Chailung already involve fraud, misappropriation of funds, and also obviously Kamka Jonah under corruption. So we're gonna go check or key steps to the department did chair Oshala Marago the issues still or the raise Joganamo.
Yeah, thanks, Chairperson. I think I will not dwell on these issues. I think for what I wanted to cover, Honorable Munama has and the previous speakers have generally covered the bulk of what I wanted to say. But now, there is this thing in my observation in the province that we have the problem of, well, I'll just use the normal language that people use in the province. Concerning the child care. There is this young boys, and of late we are also seeing girls and adults, whereby this drug known as Nyaope is what is actually the face of the social illness that we are seeing in our province. Usually, at the beginning, it was the problem in the cities and in town, in the city and in towns. But at the moment, it's in rural areas, those people there, our people are losing life, just to generalize or to embody it in general. So I am not sure if what we are doing really is in line with the developments, the problems as we are seeing currently. It will seem maybe we just coming with the programs as we were applying them from the past 20 years or 10 years, and then now we are not sufficiently dealing with what is clearly killing our people. And then from the visit, the oversight visit that we undertook, one of the problems is that of late payment that they are not receiving, as it was raised by Honorable Munama. I think in more than one of the NPOs, they indicated that they are not getting payment timeously. And when explaining that, it will seem they generate the report for payment. They have to take that report to the local offices, and then from the local office, they have somebody, the social worker, they will have to take it to the district office. And in one occasion, they were told that the district office did not have any car. They said, and it was in a long weekend, whereby they say, no, we don't have a car. It means we will have to attend it next week. And when it was time to process it, when that time passed, they were waiting for payment. At the end of that month again, they were told that, no, we lost that report. You need to prepare another one and send it. Now, at this year and age in 2025, whereby if we are using the technology sufficiently, I mean, you can just upload the documents in here, whether you generated payment is a report or whatever, by just click, and then you send it to the person concerned, who can then just, now we have to wait. There is no car to go there, and then which is a serious problem. And also the amount of stipend, I was not impressed with what they are getting. I know we have the financial issues in the country and in the province, but we really need to look seriously into covering what those people are getting. You find that the department, or it will seem that the department in certain instances pays stipend for maybe child care worker. What do they call it? And then like the manager there is not getting anything. So it creates a confusion as to who actually the parties are all important. So they must, the managerial part, we must also be covered with regard to these stipends. Yeah, no, I think that I'm covered on that one.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, through you to the MEC. MEC, there are, and I quickly counted, it looks like there are 3 written questions that I've written to your department. The one, question 6 of 2025, has been appearing on the legislature question paper now for the 6th time. I do not wish to fight with you, but you must please appreciate that from our side, we have an oversight role, and those questions will ultimately assist you in complying with certain areas and see how we can assist our communities. So at this stage, I'm imploring you, please look at the outstanding questions, see when can you answer them. On that score, through you, Chair, on NPOs, especially where there's old age homes, I see there's an initiative by a local school here in Polokwane where some of the primary school children go out to old age homes and whatever NPOs they've decided, and they will identify certain projects where they, for example, fix a bathroom and something like that. My question to you is, if we would like to assist those initiatives, how can we approach the department? With who can we talk? How can we put you in touch with them or them in touch with you, and see how we can also support the community, even if it's only in a limited way. Through you, Chair, then the last question, if you can just bear with me. I think that is all for now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. There are 2, 3 things from my side. The issue with regards to water district, we have seen the report wherein 14 NPOs were investigated, and majority of those are from Waterberg. And all the findings or the investigations speaks to misappropriation or mismanagement of funds. What then becomes, because if NPO is registered with the department, and if there is non-compliance thereof, it will mean that the department needs to do something. Because also the very same monies that you transfer or you fund these NGOs still remains public money. So you have a responsibility to act. And acting does not necessarily mean opening of criminal cases. Because if you are registered, there are certain norms and standards that you need to comply with. I would assume so. And once you don't comply, So effectively, it means you are facing deregistration. Again, there is, you see, we are going to harbor on this NPO's MEC precisely because, and I think we have raised it twice, because there is a public outcry. Personally, I intervened stopping a march. There is a public outcry in relation to non-registration of these NPOs. Some since 2018. They've been waiting for registration with the department. But then if you look at outstanding registrations between 2018 and 2025, and look at the trend of the new registered NPOs between 2024 and 2025, the public outcry then is justified. So there is an issue with regards to that. And I'm not sure as to how then do we attend to that. And the other issue, that's why it's unfortunate that we need to confine ourselves to this fourth quarter reports and all those things. But some issues are going to smuggle them, because we might meet in the next 3 months and deal with something. The public-private partnerships. We have, there are a number of initiatives, particularly with regards to drug rehabilitation centers. Some, of course, they have requested the department for assistance. They are not coming right. And surely if the department doesn't register your rehabilitation center, there is no way they will fund you. So basically we have a problem with registration. And I'm not sure because of the person responsible, the stature of the person responsible for such or not. But I agree, if you have other responsibilities here in government, you cannot just be treated as such. Because here is government, we must account. So we need to register that concern, MEC. There are rehabilitation centers that, of course, for some, it's a business of some sort. And there is no way they would want to partner with the department. But they do rehabilitation, fine, but there is no, I get about rehabilitation goes with psychological services. When your normal rehabilitation is done, the person doesn't get any counseling, psychological or social, something like that. So how then do we get into that as a department to say that, look, fine, do whatever you are doing, but at this last phase, that is where we come in. But also, all these things have after having said all these things that we have said, you know, you look at the expenditure pattern, you spend, you do everything, 97%, okay, no problem, no worries. But do we, as ordinary, or maybe can we say that ordinary people in Limpopo can see the impact of the department in terms of these programs? Where are we telling our good stories? And where are we telling our bad stories? But it cannot be a selective practice in terms of services that we need to offer to our people. Maybe if you can take us through in terms of the impact, or something that when we walk, somebody can say to us, look, that department has really assisted us. We know we are assisting them, but nobody says anything about what we are doing. Do we have effective awareness programs in terms of the services that we offer? We don't. How many partnerships have we rejected as the department? And the calendar legislature. They come to you, you reject them, they come to us because of a simple calendar that's written Rogers Monab, Chairperson Social Development. But we cannot be talking to you about those administrative issues. The level of rejection is more than the level of intervention is. And good initiatives that speaks to our mandate and mission and objectives. Some they don't even need funding from the department, but they are rejected. I know there's been a request of one marathon club around Polokwane. They're having a marathon with a GBV. The focus is on curbing or eradicating GBV. But the department rejected a request for partnership, and they did not want any funding from the department. They only wanted the visibility of the department in that marathon, but they were rejected. So imagine about those that would ask for funding then. And we are not sure whether it's now personal MEC or not, because the very same mining club has its own social responsibility programs, but the department has been refusing to register them since 2018. Just a mere certificate of register. They are not saying that treat us like any other NPOs, give us money quota. No, we want this registration. Our bank account is fine, we're doing our things. Just that simple thing. And we don't want to draw in bring personal differences of employees of the department with the executives of that mining marathon club. Because some of these things we believe they are informed by personal differences. But that is a matter for another day. We hope the department will intervene. But with the Waterberg District HOD, even though we cannot dwell much into administrative issues, but as and when we play oversight, we will get into administrative issues. There is nothing happening there. In actual fact, there is a highest level of laxity. There are a number of districts here. Some, I think, they have superpowers than the MEC. What do you call these things? District managers. I would request that you look into that. Thank you very much, and we can give you an opportunity to respond to whatever that, there were questions and comments are comments. If you can still assist us by alleviating our fears, by responding to those comments and also side comments. Because this is, I agree we must use this opportunity. Ms.
Yes. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. And let me start by appreciating all the inputs, comments coming from honorable members. We take the work that you are doing very, very serious. And all the issues that you have raised with us here, they will make us as the department to go back and make sure that where there are some performance gaps, we put more efforts to improve on our work. We also appreciate the comments, especially when it comes to giving us credit, where the honorable members have realized that as the department, we have tried our best. Before I hand over to the acting HOD and the team, I'm just worried, Honorable Chair, that the issue raised by Honorable Marx, it is true that the department received questions some time ago. And I remember very well when I had a meeting with the acting HOD, instructing the administration to respond to all those questions. And all those questions were responded to. We were taking it that you received the responses through proper channels. If those responses have not yet reached you, through Honorable Chair, we will make sure that we resubmit. And it is true that the questions that you directed to us as the department, many of them were on the NPOs, issues that honorable members are still raising. But I wanted to indicate that we'll still make sure that we track our submission, we resubmit, Honorable Chair. One other thing that I also want to bring to the attention of honorable members, listening to the input that you have just made, especially when it comes to our performance as the department. Honorable members, if you remember, previously when we appear before the portfolio committee, one other issue that we were raising, which we also presented at the legislature, it was in relation to the capacity of the department when it comes to the human resource part, which we want to report to the portfolio committee that we are quite happy, Honorable Chair. We tried our best to get the Executive Council to approve 152 funded positions. Those are inclusive of the top structure of the department. As I'm talking to you now, I think we've already advertised number of positions, including the Development and Research Chief Director, Corporate Services, to mention the few. But I think going forward, number of issues will be able to really address them. We are just delayed a bit, Honorable Chair, because we had to comply with the DPSA requirements, especially when it comes to some of those positions. We are directed to conduct job evaluation, but it's not the total of 152. So I'm confident that in future, when we'll be appearing before the portfolio committee, number of issues will be dealt with. Coming to the NPOs or the funding of the NPOs, which a number of honorable members has touched on that part. It's something that we fully concur with the honorable members, that there's a lot of work that still has to be done, because if you check majority of our NPOs, they are found to be very struggling, especially when it comes to compliance with the policies and legislations that are there. But we said as the department, we can't sit down and just point fingers or enjoy not to disperse the funding to those NPOs that we said we are going to fund them. Hence, we have a program of capacity building to ensure that they receive the training. And the issue that you have raised, Honorable Chair, that you find that there are other organizations that approached us as the department. I can also indicate that there was one organization, if not two, that approached us as the department that they do have capacity to source funding either through CETA or other organization, which the department, if we partner with them, we are not going to spend even a cent. They want to build capacity to the NPOs, because those NPOs, we can't say we will do away with them. Communities, we are serving the majority of the poor people. These poor people are also benefiting from these NPOs, but we can't as well compromise the issue of compliance. That's where you find there is a delay in terms of releasing funds per quarter. We are found not to be consistent, because if you have not yet accounted for the first tranche of funding, it becomes very difficult for the department to continue pumping money while you are not really performing well. In areas where we are expected to take actions, we won't hesitate to do that. Because even when we talk about training, where the NPOs have been afforded opportunity, have been given necessary support, and they continue not improving on their performance, obviously we will be left with no other option except to take further steps to deregister those NPOs. So those were the issues that I felt. Let me touch on them. The issue of blocking registration for example, the issue raised by the chair, rehabilitation centers, those are issues that I think those who are relevant dealing with the matters, maybe they might share. Either it's on our part, disadvantaging the communities, or it's also on the part of the applicant. They are not meeting the criteria that might assist them to be supported by the department. I've noted as well a very serious matter concerning the conduct and behavior of some of our social workers. And I want to indicate, Chair, that I'm quite disappointed, especially when it comes to Waterberg, because there were a number of centers that I've visited. I might give example of one of the informal settlement in Ward 4 called Rapudi. I visited that area, was highly impressed because the social worker who was attached to the area was well known to all the households that we were visiting. This is the message that we are always encouraging our social workers. But where there are elements of criminality or fraud and corruption, where we rob our people, such behavior will not be tolerated. And we will be appreciating if we can really get those details so that we start to take actions as the department. Let me hand over to the acting HOD.
Thank you, MEC, and thank you, Chairperson. I will just sort of do an overview again and then request my colleagues to add up in terms of the issues that were raised. I will request Ms. Tajila to just prepare to deal with all the issues that have to do with foster care and the issues related to the support given to foster care or foster children that are there in relation to that. In relation to the question that was asked in terms of performance by Honorable Munama, and I do acknowledge that it is our intention to achieve all the targets, and the fact that we are doing better than the previous year doesn't suggest that we should sit on our laurels and not achieve the target. He has asked a few questions in relation to that. There are basically three elements to the non-performance. And those elements, the first one deals with, in terms of program one, where, and this is it's a very big thing in the sense that it does address many of the challenges around clearing audit findings in relation to that. And the lack of performance in that regard, it's within the department in terms of us making sure that we have sufficient capacity to deal with the disciplinary cases where we need to deal with them. And for each and every case where some of the reasons why we are not able to close the matter. I want to say that there are other aspects there which are the department is working on, but there is a need for the department to get additional support from other stakeholders. For instance, there is the issues related to IDT, which for us to close it, one of the other things needs to happen is that either we need to go to court and demand money from IDT and make a claim against them. And in terms of the Intergovernmental Framework Relations Act, before we take the ID to court, we need to follow through certain processes. We are currently following through them. So for the purpose of performance, we cannot say we have closed that item in the audit finding. So those are some of the, I don't want to give all of them. That's just one of the other issues. The one issue where we talked about payment of invoices, that I will ask the CFO to deal with the big details. But overall, it is just an employee who actually, in one specific invoice, actually didn't do their work. And that is why we say that we actually have to discipline that specific employee. It's not about any systemic error in the system of the department. And in actual fact, for payment of invoices, as a department, we have improved in the sense that we have also established an invoice submission email system and so on, which what you call. In terms of services, there are two elements for non-performance. The one is the nature of the target, which we have discussed in the previous meeting around how we set up the targets and the limitations we have. I have found an example to, it's like as a department we are saying, in June we are expecting so many people to suffer from flu. And then if fewer people suffer from flu, it means that we have not achieved. And unfortunately, those targets are the things that have been sort of set up at a national level to then say all the provincial departments needs to set up those. And it is those where we say it is part of the service issue. Then there are other targets which we don't meet, not because of the nature of the target, but because of either the capacity that we have, like the target that dealt with the issue of the research amount. Right? That is something that we should be able to deal with. Now, in relation to the NPOs, there are a few things that were raised for the NPOs. In terms of payment of NPOs on time, there is both an element of what the MEC has then explained in relation to what then happens. And I think from what the committee members have said, relation to the oversight visits, particularly between April and June this year, what has then transpired is that we actually have had to make sure that we clear the financial year to make sure that we finalize and clear so that before we make a transfer to an NPO, that we have cleared whatever, because we pay them as a prepayment, as an advance for them. So when they then need to be paid next tranche, we then need to say, what have you done with the money, and so on. That process itself takes a little bit of time to then deal with it. I can confirm that for the first quarter, we have just finished paying all the NPOs that needed to be paid for the 2025-26 financial year. What that does, and this is something that we have been having a little bit of a quibble with the auditors, is that because we have paid them now in June or in May, they will have the money for the first quarter, part of that money, in the second quarter. And therefore, what then happens is that at the end of the financial year, they would still have to have sort of like an overlap of that money so that it sort of mitigates. So to deal with a specific challenge of late payment. We do understand that there is this challenge that they need to pay for example, the unemployment insurance fund and things like that. And it is for that reason that we have tried to make sure that we align ourselves and ensure that we pay as we agreed on the TPA. The issue about the TPAs not being signed, I think it is related to this end of the year arrangement for the new TPAs, for those entities that require new TPAs. Because in terms of our funding arrangement, we have signed a 3-year TPA with those specific entities, unless the new TPAs that needs to happen are for program 5, that were the new TPAs. But for most of those TPAs, all the TPAs were signed. The department will not pay if there is no TPA. A TPA is one of those documents that we include. I will ask Mr. Chimausu to just also add up in terms of that specific aspect. In terms of, and also Mr. Talk to the issue, I think Ms. Kajila can confirm that, but also Mr. Chimausu, in relation to the termination of programs in drop-in centers. In terms of partnerships, we do appreciate the suggestions and the recommendations by the committee. I also want to just confirm that we agree. I think last week Friday, we had a reasonable engagement in Skukune, where we talked and partnered with other stakeholders to push the idea of substance abuse and all those things. It's a big program, and where the department was actually going out, all out, even in terms of the media, to push up our a program to try to deal with these issues around substance abuse in relation to that. In terms of the attitude of social workers, we are aware that there may be cases where a number of social workers are not behaving in a professional manner. I will request Mr. Chile just highlight, because what we have actually introduced in our program, starting from the previous financial year, is an ethics program to then deal with the issue about how do social workers behave and the issue about the ethics, and try to build that culture of looking and taking care of the members of the community. There are a few cases, 1 or 2 cases, where those social workers who we then figured out that, for example, there was a social worker, I think here around in Polokwane, who had then decided not to attend to cases, and the disciplinary cases were taken against them, and some of them were taken to the board of the social workers to them to be deregistered as social workers. So it is an important thing that the department is looking at in terms of that. And Chimauso, please talk to the issue around the amounts that are allowed to deal with the amounts that are given to drop-in centers, the different allocations that are then dealing with. I just want to say that in relation to the Waterberg issues, in terms of the 14 investigation reports that we did provide previously, we will take additional measures to make sure that is there anything else that we can do to make sure that we deal with those. In general, if an entity has been accused of mismanagement of funds and so on, we will not fund it going forward and things like that. But in some cases, we actually have to go back and request our national department to actually deal with it, because they are the registrar of NPOs. And I think, the issue about Waterberg, we will then deal with it. And I also want to say that I am aware that, for example, there was a case where a member of our staff had actually went and tried to do corruption and say, we will get somebody else, that person ended up being fired from the department for those type of activities. The issue about the mismatch between the budget and the expenditure that was raised again is that indeed they are not 100% aligned, not because of poor performance or anything, but because more than around 70% of our budget is in compensation of employees, right? And therefore, whether those numbers that we talked about are met, our compensation of employees will then be dealt with. The other significant chunk is around the transfers to NPOs. So, and it is those numbers that then get dealt with that. Then in terms of the vacancy rate, I will defer to what the MEC have talked about, just to confirm that we are dealing with. I will ask the CFO to deal with maintenance, and there is indeed an error in slide 4. It was a typo. Apologies, Chair. And I've said the issue around foster care, Dudu will deal with it. The issue about payments and late payments for NPOs, I've also dealt with it. In terms of Ms. Tlachile is the Chief Director for Social Welfare Services, and she is the one who then is the custodian for how we manage old age homes and other aspects. So in this meeting, she's the one we can talk to around how do we then get support to do that. I just want to just say that whilst there might not be a lot of things that people say about the department, I was pleasantly surprised. Even last week, I got a letter from one member of the public who actually sent me a letter to say that they were extremely happy by the performance of the social workers around Mangweng, I think. And I actually requested Mr. Gile to see how we can then deal with that. It was a good feedback from members of the community. CFO.
Thank you, HOD, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. Let me just give details on the issues around the disciplinary or corrective actions that were taken against officials who have failed to process invoices within 30 days. Let me put it this way, that we, in the department, we actually had one invoice that was actually paid after 30 days. The others that are recorded as invoices paid after 30 days, what happened is that it was just a human error from the officials. When they were capturing those invoices, instead of capturing the correct date receipt, they captured the wrong date receipt. So then it made the invoice to look like it was paid after a long time on the system. But in actual fact, when you check the invoice, you will see that the invoice was paid within the 30 days. But it was just a human error when they were doing the capturing. They captured the wrong dates of receipt. So the one that we paid it after 30 days, we have taken corrective actions. We have given the officials the written warnings. Even those that are making human errors, we have then agreed that we'll going forward, we have given them the verbal warnings, but going forward we'll then give them the written warnings, because they need to improve in terms of really paying attention when they are capturing those invoices, because on the system it will look like we are not doing well, but in actual fact the department is doing much better in terms of those invoices. The issue of maintenance, as a department, I should mention that the department gets almost plus or minus 15 million for maintenance in a financial year, which is too little considering the number of facilities that department is having. So with maintenance, we have done some of the maintenance in our offices, and some of them they are done by Public Works. Like currently, coming from the last financial year, Public Works has been doing the Skudubu office maintenance and also the PwC office maintenance. So those are the two that Public Works are fully implementing them. The maintenance is not yet over. The Skudubu one is over, but the PwC one is not yet over. They are still on site. It's coming from the past financial year going to this financial year. So you can imagine that those two projects, they've taken chunk of our the plus minus 15 million budget of maintenance. So the other portion, we are going to use it for the offices, but mainly we've got an office called Mavambe office where we are the children are staying. So it's also need an attention in terms of maintenance. Treasury went there, they've looked at it, they realized that there's a lot of maintenance that is needed. So we are going to start with Mavambe and try to revamp it, even if we don't finish it with the current budget. But in the next financial year, we'll then go into that and revamp it. But we acknowledge that the department, for a long period, we were not really maintaining our other facilities, because we've got a lot of facilities as a department. But we have taken a decision to say, we will, even if we do 5 per year, but we will do maintenance in all those facilities. Thank you.
Maybe before you proceed to, proceed
okay,
to the next ones, because the question came from Honorable Lebia, and it was conditional. Conditional in the sense that depending on the answer, she will then decide whether she follows up or not. So that we are so economic with time. Is there a need for follow-up based on that answer? We don't need that answer now. We just want to know which of these buildings you are doing maintenance as the department, and which ones that has been, whatever, delegated to public works.
Okay. Can I just clarify, though we are going to give you the report, to say, as a department, we mainly do maintenance of projects that are below $1 million. So anything that is above $1 million, then we give it to public works, but we'll provide the information.
You know why this question? There is a debate currently. You do things, right? Or public works do things on your behalf. But when the audit comes, you can be queried on the work that you are not doing. You take accountability and responsibility for something that you are not doing. But now you just give public works money to do things on your behalf. So I think maybe that question, it supplements the current debate, not necessarily in this committee, but the current debate in all, we'll see, maybe the MEC, when she goes to EBSCO, she will agree with us, because that thing is not a law, it's a practice, but it can be changed at any given point. You are a department, when it comes to infrastructure, you budget, right? You give them money. They advertise, they appoint, there are problems there. When the AG comes, you take responsibility for something that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to you, but you were not part of anything. In actual fact, you were Edward Sodi of some sort. Now I'm giving an example. You are a funder, but you are being queried. Say, for an example, they come into a building, they do should work. It is not them that will take responsibility, it's you. Yes.
Doesn't understand the magnitude of the problems that we are facing. When immediately the AG has discovered some inefficiencies, one of the follow-up questions would be, what does the consequence management? And it goes to you, not to the public works that you are helping, that they are assisting you. And that's a cause for concern for us as the portfolio committee. Why are you holding people accountable who are not responsible for the implementation and execution of that program? And people are moving all around to say, I'm the landlord. Anything more than 1 million is me, you mustn't touch. But it's your budget. you have to account in terms of the accountability ecosystem. And that's a cause of concern that we sacrifice poor, innocent officials on the things that they were not involved in the value chain. And that is exactly what I think honorable member was raising. So don't play a devil lawyer out of the situation where you are going to be a victim, where we wanted to salvage you from being a suspect in that particular transaction that you are not part of.
In
Yeah,
actual fact,
maybe-
we're liberating CFOs.
Maybe through you, Honorable Chair, we appreciate, but let me indicate that allow us to submit the report as requested. And that report, Honorable Chair, will not only talk to the list. We are not going to list the project to say these ones are implemented by us, this one by Public Works. We'll have to attach the financial year and also the challenges, if they are there, so that when the portfolio committee apply its mind, it must then do that coming from an informed position. Those list of projects will have the information to indicate where there are gaps, where there are weaknesses, so that we don't maintain the status quo if things are not moving well, but we'll be guided, because we were doing it, this Honorable Chair, as per the arrangements that the provincial government has been agreed upon. So, but we will be guided by yourself. That report will be submitted.
No, let me say, it's fine. We'll get the report of the maintenance projects that you are doing in-house and those that have been delegated or relegated or transferred to Public Works. But the principle of the debate here is with regards to accountability. That if these people, this department, you give them 10 million for argument's sake to do maintenance somewhere, and that maintenance, it becomes something of, say, 800,000, but you have given them 10 million, if they've done shoddy work. When the AG comes, who takes the responsibility? It's not them, it's you. So the debate currently now is to liberate departments, take responsibility for your own infrastructure, so that when the AG queries you, you are able to take responsibility. Now, if something, say something happens with Sukutu Pusefu, and the AG says there should be consequences management, it comes straight to you, but you were not there. So you understand why we're
unpalatable episodes of events where sector department will have a serious problem of accountability. We are not talking about new infrastructure projects. We are not there. We are saying in terms of maintenance, we have observed as a portfolio committee that there is a critical problem. And we are not attacking the CFO. We are actually taking you out of a challenge that we see. You are going to, and your other colleagues elsewhere. If this matter is left unattended, Chair, will be another administration of the legislature or accounting mechanism that we are unable to exercise our duty fully. And that we say without fear of being contradicted. And thank you, Chair.
let them go and build whatever infrastructure that they want to build. Let the maintenance remain with departments. Because colleagues, you see, if we're to deal with a person, let's deal with a person on matters that were caused by him. The AG comes, you get disclaimer, you move from clean audit to unqualified report on things that were done by Public Works. And people want us to keep quiet as if we are not lawmakers or policy makers. I agree there is no act that says public works must do all these things. It's just a practice that was done. So I agree related to change it, so let's change. But it's not the debate for officials, it's for politicians. You stay in your line, we will also later we will just follow the mutato. Now we'll come and do other things. Maybe you can proceed, Medudu.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, MEC and the HOD and the honorable members. I will talk quickly through some of these social welfare service issues that have been raised. The first one, I'll start at the bottom going up. The first one is around the programs at drop-in centers or at community-based centers. About 4 years ago, National took a decision to develop the programs that are given at those centers. In the past, we used to give a program called Isibindi. And so since 2022, we started introducing Resiha. But as a transitional measure, we left the drop-in centers to register either both or one of them, Isibindi or Resiha. But with time, we have faded it out. So when drop-in centers talk about program stopping, that's the program mainly that we stopped doing. And it's not really stopping it, we just upgraded it to be a Resiha. That's the program that we have changed. And then the second issue I want to talk to quickly is around social workers' behavior. And Chairperson, it's regrettable that we do have such behavior happening. But I also must hasten to say that we also have a lot of good work that is happening in our different service points, as the HOD earlier on said. To make sure that we mitigate against that type of behavior, we have put in place a policy or an SOP around consequence management for our social workers particularly, and the processes that should be followed immediately after an incident happens. Part of it being that if a social worker contravenes the ethics, we report them to the council while the department is following other processes. In the recent cases that we've had where our social workers did not behave well, one of them was sentenced by the criminal courts, and we had to release that social worker. So it is work in progress, but we are hoping that it will assist us in raising the morale of social workers, but also dealing with those that are not behaving as they should, and making sure that we hold them accountable. We also have quarterly meetings with labor, just to make sure that we follow through some of the things that have come through. But I must thank the committee for raising this. We will follow up with the information that you will give us on this one. There was also an issue around development of social work programs. I can assure the committee that the programs that we have in social welfare services are still having the same captions, meaning that they're still called the same way. They're still called families and children, but the content has over the years changed. I'll just give an example. In the past, a man could not adopt a child, but now we have developed our programs in such a way that a man can now apply for an adoption of a child, and if they meet, able to do that.
Let's see how many are going to achieve. What is the target?
We haven't set a target for adoption because
it must be zero, because it's not going to
yeah, but we have done that. Another example is in the past we did not have programs that focus on the LGBTQI community, but now we have made sure that we incorporate them into our program. So that one we are working on. And then the last one that I'll talk to is the foster care program. And this is mainly for those that exit the foster care, those that turn 21. There are 3 categories that are there. There are those children that turn 21 and they're still at school or they are still studying. So we extend their foster care until they finish studying if they are at school and studying at the time. There's the category also of those that turn 21 and they're in what we call kinship foster care. In other words, they are in foster care but of a relative. So they would continue staying with that relative. And then there's the other category of those that are in foster care that are not necessarily in kinship or they are not studying. And those are the ones that we then refer to program 5 for our youth programs and our skills development programs to continue with them. What is a challenge for us is tracking some of those children over the years. Those that studied, it's a bit easier to track them because we look for them within the employment. But those that were not studying, they were not in kinship, I think, regrettably, they tend to fall through the cracks. But this also is a program that we need to develop beyond what foster care or what the Act says we should do. And I think over the years we will continue working on that one and developing it. The program for reunification, as the question was asked, the program for reunification does not have a number of sessions. In other words, the social worker expected to work with the family until the family is ready for the child to be reunified with them. And the numbers, if you see our target, the numbers are very low because these are families that are dysfunctional. Either there is a substance abuse issue or there was a child abuse issue within the family, or they have a lot of other issues that social workers need to work with them on those. And it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get them to a state where they are ready, or they can be held accountable for a life of a child. So it's not a process that is speedy. It takes we take as much time as possible to make sure that we get them ready to be reunified. Thank you, Chairperson.
Maybe just to probe further with skills development, we did an oversight. We went to Polokwane Welfare Complex. And part of the issues that were raised there by, you call them what, service users. And then Babadi children in conflict with the law. Correct. You're coming with nice concepts. The skills things that they do there, but they are not accredited. And for them, it's just to kill time. So how do we resolve that? How do we ensure that whatever skills development program that we offer, like you are welding, as they said, painting, all those things, are then accredited so that when they live there, they still have something to show that they can do these things. And many of them are those that are in conflict with the law. But they are convicted and accused.
Yes, and thank you for that question. We started early last year to work with Department of Education in trying to accredit our programs, and there's still a number of steps that we need to do. One of them is that we also need to get accredited trainers to do the training. Now the trainers, the majority of the trainers that we have now were not necessarily trainers. Most of them, there were people that could do welding or sewing or whatever that we then employed as a department. So it's a process that we are working on, and hopefully by the next financial year we'll be able to say this is how far we are with that one.
Did they report about the abuses in that center?
Yes, they have. We are working on
assaults and everything.
We are working on the
And how far are we
that
with
one.
that?
We finished 4 investigations, and 2 of them, they are already, the recommendations from the investigations are in the HOD's office. We're hoping that before the end of this month, we would be done with those ones so that we can finish that. I think the biggest challenge we have is that it's a big number of our employees that are involved in that, in the abuses. But we are working on it with labor in the HOD's office to finalize it. Skills.
I think not Chimausi, but I also
Sorry, Honorable Mnama, before you.
Concrete intervention. When we are asking you to say, here's a case, is a case that they are reporting about a particular social worker who is not doing what is expected of her in terms of what you call the ethos, maintaining the highest standard of professionalism. You can't tell us as the committee that we have acted wherever somebody in Capricorn. Now we are not asking about Capricorn. There is a case that we are reporting that these NPOs, they are saying that they don't get enough support. And you need to concretize and tell us, what is it that you are doing? What is it that you are going to do tomorrow or today when you leave here? About what you call the institutional fragility in that district, that they are very clear, that you can see. This is not just an academic puzzle, that we wanted to put this and say this and that and that. But we need a concrete intervention on the existential faults, lines that we have identified as the committee. That's what we need and nothing else. Unless you wanted to be referred to Monama's public article that he has published about this type of things of the new public management, what it says and what the tyranny of the lock frame that is happening. That we are more concerned about the compliance and the clean audit now. We just, all of us wanted to know the clean audit. And one of the questions that I think they have to respond is the impact of their programs. And the research must assist us there. There is nothing wrong in funding. But what is the impact? You have to conduct that study of the funding. What is the impact? If this NPO has 300 people that there is assisting, what is it assisting in terms of the livelihood sustainability and so forth? Those type of things. And then you will be able to achieve that target of the research per year. Not to go all over explaining us about this and that and become more generic. We are more specific in terms of what you are asking. If you can tell us, we had this problem of the social workers, they are affiliated to their professional bodies. Lawyers are being struck off when they find that they've become unethical. But in this case, what is it that you are going to do? So that we set the precedence, so that people must know what they are doing in their work. It's worse when it is done by the social workers. If it's done by Monama, who is just a primary teacher at PTC, you'll understand. But the social worker is one special person that when you have problems, you must rush to that person. Unless you are saying that we have employed wrong people in the form, we have employed teachers to become social workers. Then we'll be convinced about that. But also tell us about the post that you have, MEC. What are 152? How many social workers that you have sponsored for the academic work that you are absorbing out of that? I guess that's one question that has been pending. You can't fund people to go and study, promise them that you will absorb them, but 10 years down the line, they are not yet absorbed. And we are witnessing this type of, these people that are saying you don't have money, you can't dismiss me because you don't have an alternative. Because that's the message that we are getting. And that's not should be the message that we must communicate. These people that we have visited, they need answers from us to say, what is it that we have done? The same way that it has been explained by the TPAs, the processes, how they have to comply, and so forth. That's what we need.
Yeah, maybe just a follow-up. What? I got there is a case in Waterberg of a social worker that ill-treats people. So, if you understood what Honorable Munama is saying, was to say that there is this specific issue. What are we going to do about it? And there is this issue of us lacking capacity in terms of social services. I would assume when we speak about social services, we mainly, with specific reference to social workers. But then there was a program which you funded these social workers to go to university. Now, in the 150 MEC posts that you are talking about, how many do we have? Particularly for social workers. Because you see, if you paid for their studies at the University of Limpopo and you are not employing them, then it's fruitless expenditure. There is no return on the investment. You invested in them, but you are not using them. But also, you see, there were two issues. You see, this oversight sometimes they help. The thing of stipend and whatsoever. We are government, MEC. We have laws in this country. And we must lead by example in terms of implementing those laws. We have implemented for many years, 8 or 9 now, the minimum wage thing. We can say these people are not working, but in actual fact they are working. And we still give them 1,000 rand. Is that not contradiction or contravention of the minimum wage? And when we spoke about awareness programs, you see, you go to Skutu. You know, all those old people there, many of them were not aware that for them to be there, they are forfeiting their monthly social grant. Again, once you are in that house, you are no longer getting your social grant. And the next thing we are going to have them matching, because whatever rather or forfeited pay, better whatever well. And now it means we are not explaining to these people when they come in, or this is what is going to. There is one old man who was a pet, or society. And all of them. So we did not make them aware. While we want them to use the facility, but a black elderly would rather lose everything in the family, not the social grant. That we know as a matter. All of us were products of those things. It's just few that did not. Baba Smagudushingiri paid. I'm one of them, of course. So those are the two things that we wanted to attend to. The social worker there, well, that one, they did not be negative about it. But these other ones, Because you see, social development MEC requires compassion. You deal with vulnerable people. But if you don't have compassion, then you are in the wrong field. You can't have a social worker that can tell people, or no, "Ki December." And then, is this the first Christmas that she's seeing? No. But anyway.
Yeah, thanks so much, Honorable Chair. I am coming in just to indicate that the issue that honorable members have raised here, Honorable Munama, the social worker case, is the matter that we are going to really make sure that we intervene on that case. If the committee can give us some few days, I don't think the acting HOD and the chief director, if we get the name, it will be very difficult for us to quickly or swiftly take action. Of course, not within the parameters of the law. We will make sure that on this one there's action. And even if we are not meeting soon, a written report in terms of the steps that we are going to take will have to reach your office. And the acting HOD will be the one who is driving that process. The other issue that I also want to bring to honorable members, where we also need your support as the department. If you check, you are very much correct that each and every member, each and every human being, each and every member of the community requires the services of the social worker. You check the number of social workers we have in the department. They are not, the number cannot be something that we can really touch a majority of our communities. We still need more social workers. But the budget allocated to us, because you can't neglect other areas. We earlier on were talking about, the HOD was talking about us not meeting certain, not addressing all the audit findings due to the capacity problem. You can't prioritize the other area and then you neglect, for example, your finance component, because you also need warm bodies to assist the department to drive all the programs that are there. Lastly, Chair, the issue of the human factor is there in all sectors of life. And I want to concur with the the Chief Director, Ms. Latile, that there are social workers out there who are very much committed to their work. Since I was appointed in this department, I managed to visit all the districts. And also when we distribute food parcels, you won't find us gathering inside a venue or calling the people to gather so that we give them in one place. Those social workers who are attached to the areas will be the ones pointing to us, this is the family that we have identified. And when you get in there, you see the poverty at its best. Some of them were commending them. So it's not all our social workers who are bad. Hence I'm saying, Chair, in each and every sector, there are human beings who will choose to behave in a manner that is very dangerous to those other people who are next to them. But we will definitely act on the matter. I think I was responding on that one on behalf of the Chief Director. It's the matter that we are not going to delay. Like she was indicating to you, that other cases in terms of the Polokwane welfare, She has already submitted to the acting HOD. We can't sweep things under the carpet because it's us who will be facing yourselves as honorable members. So we will make sure that where we are supposed to act, we do that without any fear or favor. There are a number of investigations that are going on in the department because we want to have a clear and clean system that will focus on the constitutional obligations assigned to the Department of Social Development. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, honorable members. I will only focus on two questions around TPA and the issues around DIC in terms of the stipend. I will be very brief in terms of the TPA, transfer payment agreement, that is in line with the sector funding policy that was introduced by National DSD, where all provinces are expected to fund NPOs in a uniform way in terms of signing the transfer payment agreement. So the transfer payment agreement, honorable members, is signed for 3 years. So for our province is 24-25, 25-26, and 26-27. But however, all these organizations or all the recommended NPOs, they are supposed to be reviewed almost every year between January and February to determine their eligibility for funding for the coming financial year. So the 1039 organizations of which honorable members requested for the database of which we have submitted, all of them, they have submitted, they have signed the transfer payment agreement. So I think that is the information around the TPA. Secondly, in terms of the drop-in centers, I got information clearly from the honorable members about the complaint in terms of the stipend. The stipend that we give to these people at the level of the organizations, we identify organizations where members are supposed to get stipend in line with the ministerial determination. And each year we make sure that when we give this money to organizations, we are trying by all means to adhere to the ministerial determination, of which for this year is going to be 2,532. But however, the challenge with regard to the funding of the DIC program, as alluded to by the honorable member, is I think the observation was correct. And it has got to do with the question of funding the program, drop-in center, where you'll remember, honorable members, by when there was COVID-19, all the departments were requested to give back to Treasury some amount, and unfortunately in our department, we had to return 38 million under DIC program. And since then, we had some challenges, and we engaged Treasury since then to say this amount is impacted negatively in terms of how we fund drop-in centers. And as we fund them for now, honorable members, we fund them in terms of category that we developed a sort of a histogram, because the funding of DIC, it has got to do with the number of children or number of beneficiaries, where we put categories from 0 to 30, 30 to 60, and 60 to 100. The maximum number of children that we fund for drop-in centers is 100. So when you check the amount that we give, we were guided by the amount that we used to give them, 9 rand per child per attendance per day. And that amount, it is very little, because from national, there is no clear funding model for the drop-in centers. Hence now, you hear the complaints of people who might be sort of a manager getting less amount than one who is getting a stipend of 2,532, because when we fund them in according to the a funding model for the province, Limpopo province, which is not national, where we allocate funds according to the model that we have crafted, where we say we give this organization 10% for administration, 45% for operational, and then 40% for the salaries or wages or stipend, and then 5% for equipment. So if you check that particular funding model and you check an organization, for instance, if it has got only 30 children, and we put that particular formula, you will find that the so-called person who is a manager there will not be getting a lot of money. So, but however, honorable members, that is something that we have escalated it to national, so that they finalize the uniform costing model in the whole country, so that when it comes to this very program, we address the plight of our volunteers in the drop-in centers. So I think that that information will assist honorable members to understand in terms of how we do, we fund drop-in centers. Thank you very much.
What was provincial Limpopo funding formula model? Go and review it so that it speaks to the current challenges. I guess that one is not from national, it's from here. So now you can still go and review it so that it speaks to the current and realistic challenges that are confronting these people. But also the issue that you did not touch on is on the registration of these NPOs. There are a number of NPOs that have, since 2018-19, applied for registration. And others that applied in 2024, already they are registered. And they have complied, they've got proof that whatever information that the department requested, it has been submitted. Oh, it's a space? Oh. So I was always phoning the wrong person when I get this problem.
She's responsible for governance of NPOs that we fund.
Okay.
She's responsible for supporting all NPOs, whether we fund them or not.
Yes. Yeah. I want us to agree. There are NPOs. There are NPOs that have since applied from 2018 to date. They have complied with everything that the department requested, right? They even wanted to march to the department. We stopped them. And to add peri-peri on as nice steak is that those that applied early in January, others late in 2024, were given certificates of registrations. So why do we have that? They wanted to make it a tribal issue. So why do we have these inconsistencies? If you want a list of all of them, I can give you.
Your indulgence, I did not want her to thumbsuck on the issues. I would love for, not in the interest of time, but on the quality of the information that we need, that we get a comprehensive report on those issues, and it will then assist us in terms of how best we can process it. We look and without being judgmental, see whether all those perceptions that are there, they have a substance. But it can only be done if we have a comprehensive report.
Maybe let's do this. Let's have a report of NPOs that are registered, right? And those that have been deregistered. And a sampling of NPOs that their registration is still outstanding, and be from when to date. Yeah? It becomes easier, so that when then we debate on the basis of that information, that would be before us. So we have those that are funded, those that have been rejected, and those that are still outstanding. And this one has been outstanding from 2024 or 2025 or 2019 or 2020 or 2021. The list of, no, I was speaking with the other chief director around these things. Yes. I was speaking with the other chief director about these things, of people complaining and not, and I think HODs, sometimes it will not be fair that we come into meetings and speak about the laxity of other people and the way they treat other people. It won't be fair. We are not a watchdog, we are an oversight committee. But sometimes, I don't know, one or they know you, I don't know how you can do it. Let me put it in this way. Because they think they've got superpowers in the department. And Banaba they are critical in terms of this giving access to of our vulnerable people to this benefits to government. Mutu wa ya kuwa unele rehabilitation center or ukopela o register baro wena o tshwana le drug o ka forisha batho ba di drug. What's that language? O tshwana le cocaine o ka forisha motho wa cocaine o tshwana le cocaine. That's uncalled for. And we can't always, we need to provide oversight. Or every time people will wake up and call us, there is this guy, Mukai guy, dropping center, he's doing 1, 2, 3. Forget it, side. So the issue, we'll deal with it in that way. When whatever report is ready, we'll send it to the committee coordinator. But we will meet, we are going to discuss it now on our own, but Agro was still going to meet. We are still here. 2030 is still far.
Can I say something?
Yeah, if it's a matter of life and death.
Okay, thanks, Honorable Chair. What I wanted to indicate is that with NPO registration, we don't reject anyone as long as the person meet the requirements. But I think we are talking about another registration within the NPO. The one that we are talking about on rehabilitation center, for them to qualify to run that service, they also have to register with the social welfare service. I think when I was listening, you are talking about them not accessing the second certificate to run the rehabilitation center. So that's where I needed clarity. The other issue that I would like to raise is that previously National Office will send the certificate to the province and we will distribute them according to the districts. There was a time frame that was given to us to say after 2 years, all the certificates that are not collected must come back so that they go back to national. So we had a lot of certificates, reason being that we could not trace the owners. Those NPOs were no longer in the addresses that they've provided. So we had a campaign where they went all out. Even those that were had a stand, they were under a tree, they will go there, the neighbor will say, yes, they used to be here, but they are no longer there. So the certificates had to be sent back. The other issue is the contact details. When they register, they put a particular contact details. But when the certificate is to be sent to them, that number is no longer available. So we had that challenge as well. So the task that you are giving right now for us to supply the list of registered, those that have applied and they have not received certificates, those that have been deregistered,
some of them already they've been deregistered, but yes, we have got a database of those that have been deregistered. But most of them are those that, some of them applied in 2017, 2018. They've never submitted even one report. Hence, they were deregistered because we could not find them so that we can assist them. So I just wanted to give this background so that you understand where we are. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think I don't want us to go up and down on this issue. What you see, as I'm scrolling my phone, I want to check the emails and the last correspondence between the others and the department, which is just recently. So, but I don't want us to go up and down on this issue. We have established a process that would give us an opportunity to start to resolve the issue of non-registration or pending registrations. That is the process that we've established. Because it cannot be correct, you see, that you still have people that their registration is still outstanding. Others just come in quickly and they get everything. So that list that you are going to give us is going to assist us to resolve this problem. We are not going to discuss it here. It's a very mechanical and operational issue. Colleagues, I think we're on item 5, which is, unfortunately, on the adopted program, there is no item on announcements. So there will be no announcements except that there is lunch, because that one is given. There is lunch at the courtesy of the department. They will refund the legislature because this was a very fruitful meeting. So as a way of thank you,
Maybe with your indulgence, before you close, and my apologies, Chair, it's not a good thing to come when you are giving the closing remarks. I just want to bring this to the attention of the honorable members, even if it might not be for discussion. Honorable members, you will recall that there was a time where we appeared before the committee and indicate that we are going to withdraw, to request the withdrawal of the annual report from to the legislature, from the legislature. We did that process. We wrote a letter to the legislature requesting the withdrawal of the annual report, which even yourself, you have not yet discuss that annual report. Now we have received the final audit outcome of the AG.
What is the opinion?
The opinion is still the same. But the matter is being addressed at other levels. But we felt maybe we will have to find space because the letter was never presented before the legislature. So we want to write another letter of requesting that withdrawal letter not to be entertained anymore because we have received the audit outcome. I'm not sure if it does.
You are now starting a process to reinstate the report.
Yes.
Okay. All right, no problem. We'll deal with it as and when it comes. Thank you very much. But surely, whatever issues, the opinion will not change. Whatever level of engagement, the opinion will not change. Once the opinion is out, it's out. It will never change. And there is nobody that has even gone to court to request that the opinion of the AG be set aside. So it is just for you to make sure that in the next financial year, you work on issues that were identified, the remedial actions, so that you improve whatever opinion that is there. I don't know what is the opinion. I was just asking out of interest. I don't know whether it's qualified or unqualified or clean, I don't know. But from where I'm seated, it might not be clean, because if there was clean, then we were not going to have issues somewhere. So it means it's something else. But you'll brief me, there's no problem. Thank you very much, colleagues, and we have a lunch courtesy of the legislature to be refunded by the department. So for